She is a leading clarity coach, transformative thought leader, and attitudinal and behavioral strategist who has worked with various people to enable them perform optimally in their personal and work life. Her ability to draw on her invaluable diverse knowledge and skills in coaching, psychology, therapy, and deeper understanding enables her the skill to deploy life transforming solutions that empower and inspire real life learning for change in people's personal and professional lives. She is also a mother and a grandmother. Good evening, Ma. We're delighted to have you.
I'd like to say that I didn't have a pre-question situation, so I'm going to the questions are coming live. Single parenting is not, I would not say, from my own viewpoint, is nothing to be ashamed of, is nothing bad, because there are different reasons why a parent is, a person, whether male or female, is a single parent. So we cannot just say it's bad, just like that. Like I said, there is no one size fits all. Even if a child is from a two-parent background, if a child is going to be promiscuous, if a child is going to be a druggie or whatever, they will become it. It all depends on the values, the value system, and the nurturing, what was instilled in those parents in their formative years. And we say that it's between -0 to 7+, 7+ to 8. That is when the cognitive behavioral patterns are formed by the values that they hear from their 5 senses, what they see, what they hear, what they see, what they touch, what they smell. You understand? So when parents are doing things, even when it's a double parent situation, and they think the children are not listening, they're not hearing, they're not, having a sense of what's happening, that is what is going to mold that child. Now, coming to single parenthood, can you hear me? Because everybody seems to have gone off.
Yes, we can hear you, man.
Coming from single parenthood, as I said, it depends on the values and the nurturing that is put in there. It's harder for a single parent to instill these. But even, I will go back to a double parent. If it turns out that if they have a dysfunctional marriage, you will find that it's one parent who is actually instilling the value system in there. So when you're a single parent, it's harder. You have to be very conscious of what you're doing. You have to be conscious of what you want to the children to turn out to be, because there's no that thing that they used to say, do as I say and not as I do. That's what creates, dysfunctional, heavily dysfunctional children. I looked after my 4 girls when my husband died singly. Do you understand? So I don't know whether you knew that before you asked me to come on this show. And I must say that my 4 girls are well behaved. They're all mothers now, except one who just got married in last year. And we pray God, gives her her own. I have had to sacrifice. You see, the values are the critical point of what you impute into a child who will now grow into the twin and then teens and then becomes a young adult. So it all depends. It all depends really on the parent, that single parent, whether male or female. Are they ready to give up certain things? That is the critical point. And that is where we go wrong. Once you are not ready and you are behaving as if you are not a single mother or a single father, they're going to pick up on a lot of things. And they already have that, that emotional issue of not having one of the parents. Like Dr. Samuel said, it's always good to have both parents, but if the parents are responsible parents, sometimes it's even worse for a child to be in a marriage setting where the two parents are irresponsible. So it all depends. It all depends. But it's a great sacrifice. That's what I have to say. I'm saying it from experience. It's a great sacrifice. And if you don't sacrifice and have the God factor there, because we are all guardians, we are not owners of those children. That's what I tell people. We are guardians that God has given to nurture these children. So what are you imputing into them? So it was a great sacrifice for me. I had to put myself to one side sometimes, most times, and just key on to the fact that I had girls. All of my children were girls, and it was very, very critical because I had to play the role of mother and father. So it was very, very critical that what I say is what I am doing. Do you understand? So they will have no reason to think to themselves, mommy is, you know, that kind of stuff. So when I open eye to them, there's nothing that they can hold to me. They don't see this, they don't see that, you know. So it all depends. Let me leave it like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. So single parenting is sacrificing because one partner has to play the party, the position of both parents. I'm still coming back to you, Ma. What are the effects of single parenting on the single parents?
Me? Is it for me?
Yes, ma'am.
The effect is that it's very debilitating. It's very hard. Where probably you could, you know, share things to one parent or the other, depending on if one parent, I can now talk about myself, depending on if the man, because I'm female, is a responsible man. I tell you something, most times, sometimes you find that a man is in a marriage, but he's not there. He's not responsible. As a counselor and a therapist, I work with a lot of situations like that, and I've had to intervene. So it's not easy. It's taking the role of two people. Now, the danger is that you could become too strong and harsh on them. And so you have to be able to balance it up. You have to be able to balance, because you see, when you are two and you know you are relatively okay as a couple, there is like the good cop, bad cop situation. They will run to this person. This person is the one this person is the one who is the disciplinarian. This person is the one who will rub a little bit of, you know, thing on it. And they are playing that game. They have to work in unison. Now, as a single parent, what I found was that I had to be tough when tough had to be. I had to learn to be soft when soft had to be. Now, if a single parent does not know how to do the two, if you are too soft, you could create a situation whereby the children will have no discipline, and then they will grow up into undisciplined, dysfunctional children. If you are too harsh too, they could resent you and wish that they had the other parent around, even if the other parent was nasty or anything. So it's a balance. It's tough. It's quite tough. But as I said, it all depends on your mindset. It all depends on your own values. It all depends on the kind of inner resilience that you have. And it comes through learning. I didn't get it all at the same time. And because I have passed through, I have been able to help single men, single fathers, single mothers to wade through that most difficult terrain. It's a difficult terrain that you must not even refer to the other party. You see how your father is. That is how he is. That is how your mother is this. You must not. Like they used to say something that it is when there is a quarrel that the hatred comes in or nasty words. At one time, it was good. You understand? But it wasn't easy for me as a young woman. I had to navigate. And now all the sacrifices, because you lose yourself too. But if you don't give up certain things and they see you behaving in an irresponsible manner, they will turn out to be dysfunctional in certain ways. Yes. So it's not easy, but the grace of God prevails. Even for men who are single, because I have that single parents, it's not easy for them too as well. It's not easy for them to be able to handle the two at once. So sometimes they then go ahead and get married, hoping that they have a stepmother who will be good. It's a lucky situation. Your challenge is most times financial, like Dr. Franklin has said, is financial. And another thing is to be emotionally resilient, because it's not easy. Even the parent who has one sees it as a challenge, bringing up that child. So the ability to be emotionally resilient is there, or else you could break down and then take it out on the child. You understand? Begin to attack the child, and that is where it could degenerate into, repressed issues for the child, which would manifest later in life. So it's financial, it is the loneliness, is the aloneness of having to make decisions and take decisions that you could easily have asked someone else. Because yes, you could have a support group if you are lucky to have parents or sisters or things like that, whom you can bounce off ideas with. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. And so those are the two situations. And of course, when we talk about timing, it now boils down into you. So whatever you are doing, you must factor in the time that will be required, maybe to pick them up from school, to do this, to do that. You have to marry it to your own situation. And it's not easy. Nowadays, it's much easier for parents to have a creche or a place that they can have the children stay, and then you pick them up. But you need to be careful, because there's a lot of sexual abuse going on everywhere. So if there are girls, even boys, you need to be careful. So all in all, it's a tough one for single parents. But if you are determined and you can structure yourself, because the human being likes structure. A lot of us don't structure ourselves. The human brain, maybe Dr. Franklin will understand. The human brain likes structure, likes to be told, this is it, this is it. But if you do it like this, like that, you will just get frustrated. So I learned to be structured. And in trying to be structured, I was able to, although they used to call me Margaret Thatcher, well, that was their business. But now the girls say to me that they were so happy.
Do you mean the children outside?
What? they
do you mean your children, they call you Margaret Thatcher, or the outside?
What I mean is they used to say it to themselves. It was now they were grown up, and then they were talking one day and said, whenever we had someone, so they say, Thatcher is calling you. What did you do? But it was fun. It was fun. But what helped me basically is my God factor. My support was in God. You understand? It was the God factor, and it's not easy. I won't say anybody deliberately goes out to being a single parent, unless those who decide maybe they are late and they go for artificial insemination. That's something I was dealing with last week. And I say, when you are above a certain age, it is unfair to go and begin to breed children, because you see, there is a time frame when you are strong enough to do certain things. And you don't know the seasons and times. You just pray every day to be alive. You understand? So when you now begin to breed children at 48, 49, 50 plus, that means when the child is becoming energetic, you are becoming slightly, weakened. You'll be 60, the child is 10. You understand? So it's okay. Thanks. I hope I have added to what Dr. Franklin said. As I said, because there is no rigidity or one size fits all. If a child is in a situation where there is violence, where there is abuse, whether emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, it is better for the child to be with one parent. It's better for them to go their separate ways, and the child is with a parent that is not abusive. Because a parent who is abusive needs help, and there's nothing like you made me do it. Nah, everybody has the choice to either allow your emotions to take control of you, or you decide to take control of the situation. Do you understand? So it's always better that whether it's violence or abuse, the child stays with the party that is the least violent. But really and truly, where there is an ambience of family background and everything, it is good if the parents, I keep saying, if the parents have values instilled in themselves too, because they have dysfunctional parents, they are dysfunctional children. In a dysfunctional environment, everybody dysfunctional, you understand? Because if a parent is dysfunctional, that parent cannot nurture a functional child successfully, because they are grappling with their own issues, you see. So it's best for a child to be nurtured by the two. If they are steady, if they are able to be good parents. But if they are not, it's better for the child not to be there, because the child will listen to everything that is going on and begin to form behavioral patterns based on what he is seeing and hearing and being exposed to. But basically, a child is better in a two-parent situation.
As a single mother,
you will find that some men even may be more caring, more nurturing than even the woman. I always say it's not every woman that's a mother. Every woman is a woman. Like not every man is a father, but a father is a man who can steer a child. A woman is a woman who can carry the child. But is she a mother? You could find that a man could have the nurturing instincts even better than the woman that has conceived. But basically, legally, a child should be with.
Well, I can still hear you. I don't know if others can hear you. Dr. Franklin, Dr. Samuel, can you hear?
It's clear, loud and clear, ma. Loud and clear.
So I don't. It's much who have handled it very well. Who have handled it very, very well. In fact, some of them will not even get into a serious relationship until the children passed a certain age. That is, if there is a separation early, until they've passed a certain age where they can stand on their own. Because the person said that he didn't want to get into a situation where he goes and gets married, and you know what they say about difficult stepmothers and everything like that. And you will find that they will not tell you the truth. You know, evil stepmothers, I watch it on TV. They are okay with the man. When the man goes like this, Wa'ala day, as they say. But when they are of a certain age, then find that the man then has his own companion. So it's more the mother, and not the mother, yes. But you see, with me, you can't catch me. Because you see, I will defend both sides, both the male and the female. I work both ways, depending on the situation. As I say, there is no one pattern fits all. Like Dr. Franklin, who is a medical doctor, you could give somebody comes to you and says you have a headache, and you give Panadol. Another person will not react to that Panadol. You have to now give double something else. You understand? Yes, they are exhibiting the same symptoms, but you now saw something that was manifesting that didn't manifest with me, but manifested with her. So it's not one Panadol fits all. Same thing as one set of situation fits all. There's something going on right now that they say the children should be with the mother and not with the father. But there's evidence to be proven that the mother is slightly unstable. And in that case, if they prove it, the children will be given to the father with visitation rights from the mother. Now, if there is no contention and it was a death, there is no choice. So that's it. Thank you. the differentiation. You have to differentiate between aloneness and loneliness. You could want to be alone without being lonely. You could want to be lonely, and then the other side is you actually wanting, you know, companion around you, and whether female or male, depending, and you find that you have to give up certain things. Because you see, when you are a single parent, you better be careful the uncles and the aunties that you bring into the house. Children are not stupid, you understand? And you are trying to nurture the baseline for them. So if they see today this uncle, tomorrow this auntie, depending on if it's male or female, you are creating certain values in them that could play out later. So where I tell people, I said, you have to take a choice. You have to sacrifice to be able to nurture properly. That is why some people who have sacrificed more than, especially when they have been in a terrible relationship and they say they stay there because of the children. When they turn around much later and say, because of you, I stayed with so, the children will turn around, they're now adults, and say, you chose to be there. You chose to stay. Do you understand? So there are sacrifices that you need to make. You can't say one thing and you are doing another. You can't be violent or aggressive and you wonder why they are reporting them from school every single day. This one has beaten this one has bullied this one is promiscuous, they caught her somewhere, and things like that, because it's a cry for attention. So the aloneness, one had to, as a young woman, it was difficult. It was difficult, but right in front of me, like a carrot, there were times that, you know, you would try one or two relationships and you see that it's not worth it at all. Can you still hear me? She's gone off now, but can Dr. Franklin and Dr. Samuel hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You try one or two situations and then you discover to yourself that it's not worth the effort, because the responsibility far outweighs the personal need. So you just learn to get yourself involved in a lot of things. Now, if you don't learn to get yourself involved in things, then you will get yourself into trouble. You will get yourself into trouble. The human being is created for companionship. You are created for companionship. And when companionship is not there, there is a desire for that companionship. Now, if you are not confident in yourself, your energy will attract the wrong people to you. And you could find that the companionship that you wanted from XYZ, you will not really get it. Instead, you will just get a whole load of psychological, emotional trauma. So you then say to yourself, you know, what do I need? It's not easy. I tell you, it is not easy, but it is a choice. It is a choice that you can make, because there is nothing that you cannot do. Getting to this age, I have realized that there is a lot that when you think you cannot handle, you can actually handle. It will seem difficult, but later when you look back, you say to yourself, my, oh my, I thought I was going to die if I didn't get involved in this or didn't get involved with that. But you waded through because you had to be with the children. So every consultancy or everything I was doing had to be around where I was, had to be in the same locale where I was. And I would make sure that the person that would look after them, whether a relative who would be ready to do certain things. And that's what I tell people. It is a sacrifice. You sacrifice your own needs. You have to sacrifice your own needs. And look at it now. I have me time. They're all grown and I have me time. But I'm so used to being with me that I love my me time. I love my time with myself, and I guard my boundaries very, 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 very jealously. You understand? So it is the single parent learning how to be resilient, learning how to acknowledge that, yes, I will be lonely. Yes, because you are relational beings. I will be lonely. I will have a desire for the opposite sex. True, I will have a desire for the opposite sex, but I learned to shift my focus. You see, if you don't learn to do that quick shifting and replace it with something that is equally as nice, you will have problems. I shifted, I write, I watch movies, I could go out by myself, those kind of things. It's the individual person. That's why I tell people that when you find that you are not emotionally strong, you need a counselor or coach to help you wade through and get you strong inside. And that is dealing with yourself and your priorities. Once you know what your priorities are, you now have to ask yourself which one is important. You can't have the two, either this or that. So that is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. In fact, you have taught my next question, but I'll still ask it. Maybe you might need to do some little touch on it. So on that note, is it possible, I'm still talking to Dr. Lila, is it possible for single parents to find love without affecting their children negatively? So if they found love, how should they manage their newfound relationship with their parenting intact?
It is possible to find love, yes. It is possible to find love, but you need to be very, very careful. Very, very, very careful. And that is now being able to deal with you yourself. Why do you want to find love? What is the reason that you want a companion? What are the things what are the values, your own homely values with your children? What are your values vis-a-vis the values of this other person that is coming? If the values for any reason is not in sync, then you better not go into it, because it will not work. It will not work. You will regret it. So it is possible to find love again, but it must be love with your sense, not love with your heart or your physical desire. You've got to marry it with your senses, because it's not all about you. You have other people with you, and these people are the young ones that you need to nurture. So it's not a case, it's my life, I can do anything. No. The time is my life, I can do anything, is when they are grown. Like, it's my life now, I can do anything. If they ask me any questions, I'll tell them to go back to their homes. You understand where I'm coming from? Aha, I can do anything. It's me time. And by the grace of God, may I see long life. You understand? But before you find out, because you see, the heart and the head, they are two different things. The emotions can push you this way. Reality is another thing. So you need to come back to yourself and be emotionally intelligent and being able to clinically, realistically, unemotionally deal with it. Is this person that is shacking me? Is this person got the values that would actually make for a good home? Am I only thinking about myself, or am I thinking of the children too? You understand? There are things you can ask. There are things you can ask. A lot of times people see the negative, but it may be very distant initially, and they think, oh, with time, it will change. But when you now get into it, that is when that other side will recede and the other one will come forward. How do you deal with that? You're already in there. And what do? You understand? Again, I speak from experience. Like I said earlier, initially, I went into a relationship because as a younger person and everything, but I didn't know a lot of things that I knew today. And it didn't last because I wasn't going to compromise anything that will cause me not to give the children my best. And it says, there's this idiom, love me, love my dog. So if you say you love me, you better love my children. Having something. Yes, it's possible to be happy as a single parent. Yes, you understand? It's very possible. It depends on your mindset.
Hello?
You have to decide. Okay, he's back. Grow up not to be happy. They too will be wishing. So whatever you go through, they will mirror it. The children will mirror whatever it is. So it's not all about money. You may not have much, but you create a nice ambience in the house, and they will grow up to be, happy children. Yes, one parent was missing, but except that parent died, you will have visitation rights. You will make sure that they have visitation rights. And it is possible. Single parents, the children of single parents have done wonderfully, wonderfully, wonderfully well. My children are doing, my madams are doing wonderfully well. In fact, we have a situation whereby they come during Christmas, during everything. Like yesterday was Good Friday, the whole house, it was filled up without inviting anybody. We don't need to invite people for parties. With the four and their spouse and their children, we make one. So they're happy, they're making noise and everything. And it is because of those sacrifices that I made. I made my errors. I made my mistakes, and I learned from them. And I tried my best. I just tried my best, you understand? That's why I advise people what to do. It all depends on you. It all depends on you. Are you going to be sacrificial, disciplined, diligent, have integrity? It's not easy. It's not easy at all. Thank you. Look at the nurturing years that they have with the child. As the child is grown, why I always say one thing: you are getting older. Why do you want to be doing school runs then? Why do you want to do that? Do you understand? But then it all depends on the person. The person might psychologically feel that she is not a woman unless she can have a child. Now she could go and do an artificial insemination from a fertility bank. I mean, I don't agree with that, but then, it's like creating a child. God is not the one who has made it. You don't know the antecedents of the sperm donor. You don't know anything about the person. You are just breeding. Now you could say, what about the person, a baby that is picked up by the side of the road? You have a baby. You have seen the baby. Do you understand? You see the baby and everything, and somehow you will be able to work with that child. But then to have a sperm bank, you don't know how the baby is even going to turn out by the time the baby comes out. And I don't know if it is, me personally, I will not advise that, because for me, it is playing God. It's forcing an issue. And if in years to come, you begin to regret it because this situation is XYZ. I don't advise it. I don't advise it. Look, there are enough children out there in orphanages and everything that you can go and adopt. It's just that in our own neck of the woods here, you say to yourself, I need to have the child, I need to do this, I need to do that. But what if it's not in your own plan? Everybody comes to this world with a plan. You're not just here to be and do whatever. So I would say that such people should prayerfully do it, and not, again, we come back to that situation. A lot of us think only of ourselves, what we want, why we want it. Have you thought about that child? Have you thought about the years of that child? What the child needs, what the child wants. When the child asks you, who's my father? You say, they took you from a test tube. You understand? When a child says, who's my father? Even a raped person, I was raped by so, I didn't even, there is a story. A child picked up by the side of the road, there's a story. A test tube baby, there ain't no story. You are a test tube baby. And that child would need a lot of psychological help to be able to adjust. And in this neck of the woods, do we even understand? We're just beginning to understand coaching, therapy, counseling. We're just beginning to understand that you pay for these services. It helps you to do so. So for me, madam, I don't know. I don't think it is right. And then at a certain age, you go and begin to have a child at 52, 53, 54, 55. How many years do you need to nurture that child? Are you going to now be doing school run, paying school fees and everything, when you should just be relaxing a little bit? Then you be doing, no. So it's been nice being on this program. I really must run.
Oh, before you leave, I just one last question for you. I will come back to Dr. Samuel and Dr. Franklin. Dr. Samuel is a gynecologist, so I'm coming back to him. So finally, before you leave, one last question to you. What do you need to do to distress, prevent overwhelming responsibility, and stay motivated as a single parent? That's my final question to you, ma, before you leave.
You must be able to have me time. I used to have me time. I lock my bedroom door. I put outside, do not disturb at your own peril. You understand? I put outside the door. I would just distress myself. And I would, make sure I sleep well, make sure my thought patterns, you see, your thoughts actually govern everything that you do. So sleep well. I used to do a lot of exercise to try to distress all those negative things. Being a single parent is not easy. I try to sleep as best as possible. And I watched the friends that I kept. So you see, the sleep, having your me time, don't overdo it. Some of the things you have to do away with, and Dr. Franklin mentioned it, there are some things that you may have to cut out of your needs. Even when your friends are buying this and doing this and doing that, it's you don't follow them because you've already seen what you need to do, and you owe nobody any explanation. You see, it all depends on you. When you get into a situation whereby you get into expenses that you now regret, and then you have problems, you take it out on those children. So cutting your coat according to your material, being able to, live within a certain means, yet living nicely, you manage it, and, not doing things that would compromise. A lot of people, let me tell you something, a lot of people, I'm talking about women now, because I'm a woman, a lot of women get into all kinds of situations because of the expenses that they go through. I should be this, I should be mania, this, I have to do this, I have to do that. I live here, and from when I was in my early 30s, mid 30s, I was making sure that things that will get me into trouble, I will not do it. My friends knew that I won't indulge in ashwebi. I'll just tell them, I just won't. If you don't want to invite me, it's okay. And it helped me, and it bred values for my children too as well. I see those kind of values with them. They live well, food, but they won't go out of their way. They'll be nice, but they won't go out of their way. They'll save. They don't depend on anybody. They'll do their savings to be able to get what they want. Like I would tell them, we can't afford this now, but let's wait and see. I will never make a promise. As a single parent, don't make a promise you cannot keep. You must not. You will put, I will see what we can do. I will try to. So when any child comes and, but mommy says, when did I say that? I never said that. I said, I will see what I can do. So that's why at this age, going on to 69, I have my peace. I am happy.
Congratulations, man.
You understand? I have my energy, and my energy is a product of understanding myself over the years and, cutting my coat according to my material, watching the people I go out with. So because of that, I can look any young person in the face and say, you can do it. If I can, you can. And look at me now. Do you see anything on my face? But it was tough at one point.
Yeah.
It was very tough because your values vis-a-vis the easy way is an easy way to go, but you lose some certain kind of respect with your children in a certain way. You understand me? All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Samuel, Dr. Franklin, and the lovely lady who invited me here. So I'll leave the floor. I wish I could be there for Dr. Samuel, the gynae, but
thank you so much. We are delighted to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
much, ma.
Thank you so much.
God bless you, ma.
We're actually running off. Thank you so much.